right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this May 28th meeting of the St. Tammany Parish School Board. Ask Mrs. Coakley if she would call the roll, please.
Mr. Green. Here. Mrs. Heinz. Here. Mr. Derman. Here. Mr. Loop.
Here.
Mr. Harrell.
Here.
Mr. Nation.
Here.
Mrs. Richardson.
Here.
Mr. Winkler.
Here.
Mrs. Drucker.
Here.
Mr. Bentoncourt. Here. Mrs. Lamy.
Here.
Mr. Hersey.
Here.
Mr. Breaux.
Here.
Mr. Kuzan.
Here.
Mrs. Page.
All right, thank you. Now, ask everyone to stand for the invocation and pledge led by Mrs. Lamy.
Please bow your head. Thank you, Father, for your love and mercy. Thank you for getting us here safely tonight. Father God, we just pray over everyone here, everyone watching, and just everyone in our community, Lord, that they would stay healthy and safe. And we just thank you for giving us this opportunity to gather for our meeting tonight. Help us to make wise choices and good decisions. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And do board members have any visitors? And I can count on one hand the folks that are in the audience tonight. But before we move on, I would like to say, take this opportunity as a point of personal privilege to thank Trey and his staff, particularly Mr. Kosei and all those who made arrangements for us tonight to be in here. You know, I hope the folks watching, who will watch this via Channel 13 will see that we're 6 feet apart, and some of us have our mask on. Certainly, board members, you're free to take your mask off if you so choose, because we are 6 feet apart, but that's your choice. It was a lot of work to go in tonight, so anyway, thank you to Trey and to Mr. Kosei and to all those who made tonight possible. I also want to reiterate something I said as I described it, our first and hopefully last virtual school board meeting. We did make history last month by having our first virtual meeting. A strong shout out, for the lack of a better term, which escapes me at the moment, to Trey and to the 5,000 employees that we have in the St. Tammany Parish school system, our administrators, our teachers, our custodians, our maintenance folks. I'm sure I'm missing a group of our food service folks. You know, have answered the call of duty, and in fact gone beyond the call of duty during this very difficult time. And so we certainly give, we know we're the best school system. You know, we say not only in the state, but one of the best in the nation. And one of the reasons is because of the folks that we have working behind the scenes and in front of the scenes each and every day. So a big thank you to all our staff in whatever capacity you work in. Thank you so much. And at this time, Mrs. Coakley has already told me there's nobody that signed up for either 3 or 5 minutes, so we'll move on to our agenda items, which our agenda tonight is short. Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting held April the 30th, 2020, and do I have a motion? All right. Mrs. Richardson moves, seconded by Mrs. Drucker. Any discussion by board members? Any discussion by the public? All right. We'll queue up to vote. All right, now we'll move on to consideration of bids for additions to 5th Ward Junior High School STPPS project number 1930. And we turn to Ms. Tipton. And since Mr. Foltz is not up here to handle the thing, let me make sure I hit the right button. So I think that's it. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Nation. This evening, we have on board docs the memo concerning the 5th Ward Junior High additions bid. We did receive these bids on May the 6th, and we were Unfortunately, these bids all came in a little bit over budget, and so we are recommending rejection of all these bids that were submitted for the additions to Fifth Ward Junior High School, St. Tammany Parish School Board Project 1930, due to them being over budget. And we will revise those drawings and get them back out for bid very shortly.
Okay, is there a motion to reject the bids? Do we need to,
Yes.
Mr. Harrell, is there a second by Mr. Derman? Any questions or comments from board members? Mr. Harrell, I'll recognize you.
I just want to thank you, Ms. Tipton, for you and your staff. I know y'all worked hard on this, and I know the Fifth Ward School and community is really excited about the ag building. So I know they're really looking forward to this. Do you think we'll have those bids in before the end of summer? Is it going to affect our schedule any?
We expect to turn it around very quickly and have them back out for bid during the summer, and we'll do it as quickly as possible. And it may put us off by a month or two, but it shouldn't affect it too much.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harrell. Mr. Derman?
Cameron, just out of curiosity, how much over budget was it?
The budget amount, or the construction budget in the bond issue for this project is $1,640,000.
Okay, so we're a little over 300,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Derman. Anyone else?
Part of the process, we will make sure we communicate with the administration of the school.
And we are doing that.
Make, prioritize what's most important to them as we go through anything that we'll look to just squeeze back on a little bit.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
All right. Not seeing any comments, further comments from board members. Are there any comments from the public? Not seeing any, we'll vote. And the motion is adopted unanimously. All right. Moving on to item C, consideration of bids for parking lot at Abney Elementary School, STPSB project number 1907. Ms. Tipton.
Thank you. We received the bids for this project on May the 14th, and we received quite a number of bids. We are recommending acceptance of the low base bid that was submitted by JAC Construction of South Louisiana, LLC, in the amount of $403,100 for this project number 1907.
Okay, is there a motion? Mr. Hersey, and a second by Ms. Lamy. All right, the floor is open now for board members for any comments or questions. Okay, not seeing any. Is there any comments or questions from the public? Not seeing any there, we'll vote. And that motion is adopted unanimously. And Ms. Tipton, before you leave, I know one of the, not to put you on the spot, but just, if there is a bright lining out of the COVID, I think you've been able to jumpstart on some projects, and to keep some work going that.
Yes, sir.
That you would not have been able to have done until school was out. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Well, we'll look forward to our committee as a whole meeting to get an update, status report on those. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Mr. Nation, if I could, that is, yeah, I know, Mike, this is kind of scary.
Hello.
That is the plan, at the next month's committee as a whole meeting, which I know you're going to announce in just a
Right.
minute. All of our departments will be giving updates and things that are going on. I think the timing will be really perfect, because as you know, June 1st, the governor will be giving out the phase 2, hopefully giving out phase 2 guidelines, so we'll have a better understanding. So each department, as part of a traditional committee as a whole meeting, will give updates to their department. And we're looking forward to sharing that information with you, whether it be construction, administration, curriculum, personnel, administrators, supervisors. All those type of reports will be in the traditional fashion at the June committee as a whole meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Foltz. We'll move on now to item D, consideration of an extension to the superintendent's contract, and I recognize Mr. Kuzan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion that we extend the superintendent's contract by 2 years, ending July 1st, 2022. And
All
I
right.
so move.
Is there I was going to say, is there a unanimous second? All right. Motion by Mr. Kuzan. The board unanimously seconds. Is there any discussion or comments from board members. Mr. Kuzans, anything, since you made the motion, anything you would like to say in addition?
Well, I'd just like to say that I've been fortunate to be in the system, around the system for 50-plus years, and I've seen the share of superintendents. I've worked for a lot of them, and I've been with them, and I can truly say that this superintendent that we have now has the energy that I've never seen displayed by a superintendent. And the things that he go over and above the norm. And that's what I like about him. So I just was very happy that we had a unanimous second on that, and I just want you to know that he's done, all his life he's done real well, and he's doing great now. And I personally want to thank him for his leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Kuzan. Now I'm going to turn to Mr. Dermott, I'm going to defer to our senior board member, Mrs. Hines, and then I'll come to you. Who's our most senior looking? You are, that is, you know. So, beauty before age. All right, Mrs. Hines.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Mr. Nation. You know, I feel like I know there's a sigh of relief that we'll have a continuity in our leadership during this particular time in general. Mr. Foles exhibits every day in this school system just amazing leadership, and I feel it throughout the central office staff, throughout our principals, and our school community, and our community as a whole at large. And as I say, I just felt a huge relief when I realized that Mr. Foles is willing to stay on another 2 years, because I know that it's going to be a challenging time for us. I feel like his leadership has been excellent. I know he has a vision for our system, and certainly the experience to take us through the next couple of years. And I'm so grateful for that. And I hope the board will support us in this renewal of the contract. And I thank you, Mr. Foles, and for being willing to stay on with us.
Thank you, Mrs. Hines. Mr. Dermott.
Thank you, Mr. Nation, and I mean, I think we need to get Mr. Jabbia some glasses if he thinks I'm the oldest one here. But actually, I want to echo what both of the previous board members have said, but I think one thing is very evident when it comes to great leaders. You know, it's easy to lead in normal times, but when things are as abnormal as it has been for the last several months, it really shows true leadership. And no one anywhere has ever gone through this before. And yet, you know, we never wavered. We stayed the course. We didn't do anything with a knee-jerk reaction. Everything was thought out, planned out, and all the options, you know, with Trey and the staff were discussed and vetted to actually, you know, get the most desired outcome. And that's what he's done in the past. That's what he continues to do. And we're also so lucky to have him for another couple of years continue this. Like Ms. Hines said, we're again going to be dealing with some issues that we've never had to deal with. And, you know, we're very fortunate Mr. Foltz is going to be with us through those times, as well as, you know, the members of his staff. The one thing I do want to also echo in the motion that we're putting forth is that we're extending his contract, but it's just purely an extension of his original contract. In other words, his ongoing contract. We're not making any changes to the contract so the public is aware of that, other than the time frame. So, you know, he's always been a team player. I think you can ask anybody that's known Trey over the years, and his commitment to this school district has been unwavering. And I just want to thank him for staying the course with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Dermott. Anyone else from the board? All right, I'd like to see no one else from the board, see no other board members, I'd like to take this opportunity to say, echo and what has been said, and simply add that, nobody bats 1,000. And you're lucky if you bat 500. But the thing I've learned about, and I've come to deeply appreciate about Trey, is that he does bat 1,000 when it comes to his instincts. His instincts, and that's what you need in a leader. You need good instincts, and his instincts are spot on. And so regardless of what the decision may have to be, it's going to be those instincts that lead him. And so that's what I've come to certainly appreciate in my 5 years now on the board. So thank you, Trey, for agreeing to allow us to extend your contract for 2 years. And frankly, we would extend it more, but also it's simply the law won't allow us. We can only extend, we can't, bind a future board more than, I think it's a year. We can, but anyway, so this is the extent of what we can do. So that's, so anyway, Trey, would you like to say anything before we, I don't want to put you on the spot. But, all right. Yeah, that's right. Don't mess up the sale, as they say. That's right. That's right. All right. Anyone else? All right. So we'll now turn to the public, and we have Mr. Broom. So I think that's Mr. Broom. Who is that masked man?
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yep. It's on. Yep.
Thank you. To identify myself, I'm Robert Broom from Slidell, and I just wanted to thank the board for making this decision and taking care of the continuity for the school system, and to congratulate Mr. Fultz on being a true professional in what he does, and to richly deserve this recognition that the board is giving him. And as a member of the public, thank you for doing such a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Broom. Anyone else from the public? All right, not seeing anything, then we'll move to our vote. And as expected, the motion is adopted unanimously.
Thank you, board members. First of all, let me say a thank you to my family for supporting me in this decision. It took a little arm twisting, but it worked out in the end. So I'm super appreciative of them. I think we all know that all of us could not do our job without our support of our family each and every day. So I'm blessed to have a wife, Patty, and my 4 kids that believe in what we're trying to do and know the importance of it. And then next to our staff, you mentioned that Pete and Mike and Lewis and Meredith and all are here, and Amy and Cameron and Terry and Christy, who does an amazing job for me. It is a total team effort. You say all the time, there's no I in team. And I will put this team that we have in the central office up against any team anywhere, and it would be impossible to do this job without each and every one of them. So I thank them for that. And then to the board, I mentioned to you before, when the new board came on, I certainly wanted to meet everyone and learn from everyone. And I feel so comfortable and so blessed to work with a board like that we have here. And I promise you, it is not like this everywhere. And I do not take it for granted. My staff does not take it for granted, the relationship that we have with each and every one of you. I value your input. I value your support. And to get this unanimous second like this certainly means so much to me. And I'm so very thankful for that each and every day. And last, just thank God for the opportunity. I think Mr. Derman mentioned we're going through some uncharted waters in unprecedented times, Mr. Green. But I do believe, because of the experiences that we've had, because of what we're going through, and because of the team that we have, that we will be able to make it work. And I know it's going to come because of a lot of work and a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment and a lot of support from each and every one of you. But I truly believe that we will do what's best for kids. We talk about it all the time, every child, every day. And that's my commitment to each one of you for the time that I have left in this position. And again, I thank you very much for your support. It means a tremendous amount to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. move on now to our announcements. And we have, I have two announcements, one that's printed, and I also want to I meant to say this earlier when in opening comments and failed to do so. I want to take an opportunity to now say, at least speak for myself, and I think I can speak for the entire board, just knowing these folks up around me, that how deeply grateful we are that Dr. Kate Brumley was elected as the state superintendent. It's so nice to have someone in that position that is comes from the largest in size, largest school district in the state. He's a superintendent, has been in the classroom. He has a wide range of experience, and I know that Dr. Brumley will serve the entire state well and do what's right for our public school children as well as our educators. So we're very, very grateful for that. And we do have one announcement. The June meetings have been rescheduled. We are getting back hopefully on a normal schedule somewhat. The committee as a whole meetings will be held Thursday, June 11th at 6 p.m. The board meeting will be the week following on Thursday, June 18th at 7 p.m. And of course, both meetings will be here at the C.J. Shane Administrative Complex. And with that, I will take a motion to go into executive session, which has been requested pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 42:17A2 to discuss two matters.
I'm sorry, we were supposed to get a message to you, I thought it had been delivered to you.
No.
That our attorney has recommended that we not have the executive session, is not needed for tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Bergeron. We appreciate that. All right, so I retract my request. And Mr. Derman puts his hand down. So with that, with no further business to come before the board, we declare this meeting adjourned.